motive. Shahrukh Saifi is accused of setting a co-passenger on fire.
अब वालिद साहब में पिताजी हैं शाहरुख के। शाहरुख के बारे में उस पर इल्ज़ाम है शाहरुख ने ट्रेन में आग लगाई है, आपको ये बात पता चल गई होगी, क्या कहना चाहेंगे इस पर और क्या आपको पता चल रहा है?
नहीं सर, मैं तो ये कहना चाहूँगा अगर वो दोषी है तो उसको सजा दी जाए। अगर वो दोषी है तो उसको सजा दी जाए।
अच्छा
जी,
ये बताइए शाहरुख के बारे में बताइए, शाहरुख केरल क्यों गया था? केरल
मुझे नहीं पता कि वो क्यों गया, और यहाँ पे जो है जो भी आ रहा है मैंने उससे यही बोला है कि मतलब मेरे काम पे के लिए गया दुकान पे, लेकिन काम पे नहीं पहुँचा वो।
यहाँ से कहाँ काम पर जाता था?
सेक्टर 31 निठारी।
हाँ, काम पर नहीं पहुँचा। आपने गुमशुदगी की रिपोर्ट भी दर्ज कराई थी? कब?
2 तारीख को। 2 तारीख को।
ये बताइए कि काम के अलावा भी क्या वो कहीं कुछ जुड़ा हुआ भी था?
नहीं,
किसी
कहीं किसी का नहीं, कुछ किसी का कुछ नंबर कुछ तो मिलता। अगर वो ऐसा कुछ होता तो घर में कुछ तो मिलता। तो घर में कुछ नहीं मिला किसी को।
आप घर से कब निकला शाहरुख की?
31 तारीख को।
31 तारीख को क्या क्या गया था?
काम पे जा रहा हूँ।
With the cooperation of central agencies and Maharashtra police, the suspected accused has been taken into custody, and he'll be brought back to Kerala. I am in touch with the Maharashtra DGP, and further details on his interrogation and all that, whatever is revealed, will be shared with the media at an appropriate time.
The culprit who committed this heinous crime has been apprehended in Ratnagiri district of Maharashtra. I thank the government of Maharashtra, their police, RPF and all the people connected with this, including NIA, who have been able to very rapidly, very quickly apprehend this person.
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. In a massive setback for the opposition, at least as far as narratives go, the Supreme Court today refused to entertain their plea, a plea that was filed by as many as 14 opposition parties together, alleging misuse of central investigating agencies, namely the CBI and the ED. The bench headed by Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud told the opposition counsel that the court will not entertain the plea as it will become a problem if the Supreme Court lays down guidelines in abstract manner without factual basis. The court also went on to say that there cannot be separate set of guidelines, rules or procedures for politicians, they are too citizens of India. The court also asked the opposition parties to either mention specific cases, if at all, and thus the opposition counsel Abhishek Manu Singhvi withdrew the petition. Whether they'll come back or not is not clear. Not surprisingly, the BJP has hailed the move by the apex court, slamming the opposition for demoralizing agencies. So what will happen to the entire misuse of agencies narrative by the opposition now? Is this a setback for that entire line of attack that has been blunted just ahead of the general elections next year? We'll take those questions to our guests in just a bit. But first, let me refresh your memory, a breakdown of what this opposition plea was all about. So this plea was filed in the Supreme Court by 14 opposition parties on 24th of March. The plea stated that central investigation agencies are being misused by the government. It further added that CBI and ED are being deployed in a selective and targeted manner. The plea claimed that 95% of the cases against politicians which are being probed by the CBI and the ED today are against opposition leaders. It claimed that the sole aim behind these cases is to completely crush political dissent in the country. The plea also showed some data to claim that the ED and the CBI also have a very low conviction rate. Now, the court was quite categorical whilst dismissing this plea. Bench headed by CJI Chandrachud said, and I quote, "Political leaders cannot be put on a higher pedestal." They went on to say that political leaders cannot be given an immunity as far as these investigations are concerned, and they too are citizens of India. So therefore, this entire plea becomes a bit of a problem. They also went on to say that there cannot be a different set of rules and procedures for politicians alone, because the main premise of this plea was that politicians from opposition parties are being targeted. In fact, the Supreme Court also went on to say that while you chime the word democracy, this sounds or seems like a plea for politicians. The court also said that if you believe these cases are having a chilling effect, which the opposition has often claimed, that's a question that needs to be taken to the political space, not the legal space. That's the big debate coming up first on Plain Speak today. With this opposition plea that has been rejected by the Supreme Court, is this entire agency misuse attack blunted then?
ये लोग आपका ध्यान भटकाते रहेंगे, लेकिन आपको अपने काम पर फोकस रखना है। कोई भी भ्रष्टाचारी बचना नहीं चाहिए।
They have categorically allowed the withdrawal of this petition, not passing any adverse order. I repeat, not passing any adverse order. If we get new causes of action or new persons or new reasons, it can be filed again. So clearly, they have not entertained it at this stage.
सभी भ्रष्टाचारी एक मंच पर आने का प्रयास करते हैं, लेकिन ये जनता में भी इनका चेहरा बेनकाब हुआ है और कोर्ट में भी असलियत जानने का मौका मिला।
Let's go across to the guests who are joining us. Waiting for some of our political representatives to be joined in, but I am joined in by George Kurian, political analyst who leans towards the Congress party. Tushar Gupta is senior editor, Swarajya magazine. George, let me begin by asking you, and I should mention this for the benefit of our viewers, the Congress has declined to be a part of this debate. But George, isn't this a big setback? Isn't this an embarrassment, if I may say so, for the opposition and the joint opposition? Because, you know, this whole esoteric attack that there is some large misuse of agencies, it doesn't cut ice, certainly not legally, unless you can specify in which case the case is motivated or political vendetta. The opposition seems to be failing to do so.
Well, a very good evening to your viewers and to you and my co-panelist. Let me begin by saying that the decision from the Supreme Court, it's a welcome move, not a problem. See, the opposition is so strong today that, you know, post 2014, it has been going through all the harassment and intimidation from the ruling dispensation. So it doesn't really matter to it. It will come back with a strategic move again to counter the decision that the Supreme Court has taken at this point in time today, because it's for the people and the voters to take a call or make a judgment on what's going on.
You're right about that, and the court actually alluded to that actually this is more a political charge that must be fought in the political space. So was it foolhardy of the opposition, which is headed and spearheaded by many prominent lawyers, to even take a plea like this, a generic plea like this, to the Supreme Court? Was it then only for theatrics and optics?
Well, I strongly believe that at this point in time it was a little too early for the 14 opposition parties to take a vague kind of a petition or a plea to the Supreme Court. So going forward, I'm sure that they will have a strategic move with detailed cases by cases as with regards to the opposition leaders. With respect to harassment and intimidation and targeting the opposition leaders in specific, and I'm also confident that the opposition parties will go into the people's court, which are the voters, and bring it to their notice as far as all the cases that has been leveled against the opposition leaders. To be very specific, because we have seen the rise in the number of cases with the opposition leaders when it comes to it's a very good thing. to say that zero tolerance with as far as corruption is concerned, but why that zero tolerance? Just keep it limited or single out to the opposition leaders. Is that what?
No,
that is
but
what the big question is.
I get that question, but George, just because there are cases coming out on one side, agencies cannot do monkey balancing by also just putting cases on the BJP leaders. What is the serious allegation of corruption that has come out? Not just against the central government or any state BJP government. You please name it. That has not been probed.
Well, there are so many opposition leaders who have joined the Bharatiya Janata Party today. I don't want to name any
That's
of
a
them
separate
at this point in
argument.
time
Forget
because
about
they
those who have joined the BJP. I'll come to that question separately. But there is a BJP government at the center for nearly 10 years. There are multiple scores of BJP governments in states. If there is a corruption charge that comes out, it will be investigated. But the reality is that no significant charge has come out. I'll come to the question of deflections later, please. That's a slightly separate issue. Yes, George, please finish.
Oh, was that for me?
Yes, go ahead. Please finish.
So that is what I'm trying to. Over and above, all I want to say that opposition party is united in this fight against the kind of intimidation and harassment that is singled out to the opposition parties, and it will come out with a strategic move to counter the decision from the Supreme Court, and very soon it will come out with a strategy.
Okay, all right. I'm also joined by Ravula Sridhar Reddy, senior BRS leader. Mr. Reddy, is this not an embarrassment for all opposition parties? Because your single-pointed attack on the government seems to be every day that agencies are being misused against them. You have made the similar charge when it comes to Ms. K. Kavita's role or investigation in the Liquorgate scam. But the Supreme Court believes you are not above investigation. You are not above the law. There cannot be a separate pedestal for politicians.
BRS never said we are above the law. We only have actually, talking about central government misusing the probe agencies. That is the basic issue. And the entire country is watching this. It is nothing new in the country. You have seen for the past 8.5 years, Modi government, how they are behaving. And it is only for opposition, CBI, ED, and IT effectively work. And they arrest them, they fabricate cases, they falsely implicate us. So we are seeing. So it is opposition will use, rather explore every opportunity to, show the government's misuse and abuse of the power.
Okay, but what the court said, no, there's nothing wrong in it. But what the court is saying, Mr. Reddy, is you come back to us or you show us specific examples. Now, you've got the case of Ms. Kavita and the investigations against her in the Liquorgate scam. She's been going to the court. The court is not giving her any relief. So is the case for Manish Sisodia, another accused in this case, or for others. So my point is, if you are so convinced that these are false accusations, why are you not getting any relief? You're going to courts on that front too. Then how does this charge stand?
We made it very clear in this Delhi excise policy case, neither Kavita ji nor any other BRS party leader has any role in it, number one. Number two, we are cooperating with the investigation and investigating agency. We went to the court, they had to complete the hearings on it. So there will be, enough time. They will have to come out with a decision from the court. So we will wait. That's what I'm trying to say. We will explore all the opportunities before us to prove the central government is wrong and how these central agencies are behaving with only opposition leaders, not questioning any BJP leader and all that. We are seeing that. So we will definitely continue to fight, and we will wait for the right time, to show, further show how the central government is using the ED or CBI or IT to which end the opposition leaders.
Okay, let me go. Rajiv Pandey of the BJP is also joining us, but Rajiv, just stay with me because Tushar has been with us for quite some time. Tushar, narrative-wise speaking, how bad could this be for the opposition? Because this is a big stick they've been using to hit at the BJP government, the central government.
Good evening, Shivani. Shivani, the absence of any Congress spokesperson to take your tough questions on this observation by the Supreme Court is an answer in itself about the narrative and how it has been dented. But interestingly, Shivani, one of the signatory of this letter was the RJD, and it has had its chief head, Lalu Prasad Yadav, convicted in the fodder scam. Now, I'll give you an interesting story. Until May 2013, when Dr. Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister, it was a UPA government. 44 of the 53 cases filed under the scam had ended in conviction, which also included the conviction of Lalu Prasad Yadav. Now, today the RJD is saying that the agencies are being misused under the Modi government. There is the Aam Aadmi Party, also one of the signatories. They claim that Manish Sisodia was innocent. Satyendra Jain was innocent. But in the last few months, they haven't been able to secure the bail of even 1%. Congress claimed that they were innocent in the National Herald case. The Supreme Court refused to stay the proceedings. We all saw what happened with the Surat court about the OBC remark. Samajwadi Party was other signatory. We've seen their tryst, their acquaintance with some infamous gangsters and how that has ended in the political defeat of the Samajwadi Party. Trinamool Congress, just a few months ago, wasn't it a Trinamool leader who was caught with hordes and hordes of cash in Bengal? So what moral or morality do these parties dictate when they attack the BJP when it comes to the misuse of the agencies?
They're saying, when they say selective and biased approach, like you heard, they're saying, once again, Rajivji, once again, they're saying that those who join the BJP, a dead giveaway that this is biased is the fact that those who join the BJP suddenly don't have the heat of the agencies on them. The cases might not go away, but they live their lives comfortably. There is no heat by the agencies. Tushar, very quickly, then Rajiv can respond to this.
If that is indeed the case, these people who have joined the BJP have come from other parties, presumably of one of these 14 parties.
Yes.
Why can't the party leaders or spokespersons or the cadre go and file a case with all the evidence?
But that's not fair. No, Tushar. It is not the opposition party's job to be investigating and going to court. That's not a sufficient response to the fact that these people were being probed earlier.
No, it's the job also, it's their job also as citizens. Now, Rahul Gandhi, in every press conference, says that there is Modi money in Adani shell companies. I am asking as a citizen, where is the evidence? Why are you not taking it to the courts? Again, this is all about the narrative. The Supreme Court has punctured the narrative where the opposition parties keep claiming that the agencies are being misused. Rahul Gandhi keeps claiming that the judiciary is a sellout. All that narrative has been punctured today and very rightly so.
Mr. Reddy, please respond. Then I have to bring in Rajiv Pandey.
Mr. Pandey is saying that,
No, this is Tushar Gupta. This was Tushar Gupta speaking independently. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Tushar was saying that, ED, CBI, IT failed to collect the evidence against all BJP leaders who were accused in many cases. Now it is up to the job of, opposition parties to collect evidence. For CBI and ED and IT. That's what I wanted to say. What is this logic all about? How come CBI or ED finding evidence or collecting evidence only of the opposition leaders? Why are they failing in BJP leaders' cases? So this is a clear-cut case of political vendetta. Even in Delhi excise scam issue, whatever they called as scam and all that, in Delhi excise policy issue, they could not find any evidence. No money found, no documents were found, all losses were imaginary, and they fabricated a case and they put two leaders behind the bars. Of course,
Mr. Reddy, now here is where I have an objection.
One point.
The courts will take a decision to the best of my knowledge.
Yes.
Basis the evidence or whatever documents provided by the investigating agencies.
No,
and
Mr.
how
Reddy,
they are doing it, we know.
all of your other points I take. Once again, Tushar, once again. I do have an objection to the fact that you are saying that this case doesn't stand, there is no loss, there is no problem. But I'm sorry, that is not for you to adjudicate on. That's the court's job. And the court is not even giving bail to Manish Sisodia, who's accused #1 in this case. Forget about Ms. Kavita's role or the allegations.
Are they running away?
One more point, please.
No, they're not running away because they cannot run away. Obviously, how are you going to be in politics if you run away from these investigations? That doesn't make them stains. No, I'm sorry. The fact that these politicians are not leaving the country, unlike what some other fraudsters may have, does not make them saints. You're not doing anyone charity by being part of these investigations. And I think that's exactly what the court is suggesting, that you're not above the law. Your citizens face the law. Yes, Tushar, very quickly, Rajiv Pandey is waiting.
Mr. Reddy, from one citizen to another, you say that there was a political vendetta case in the Delhi excise policy scam. You do remember that the Aam Aadmi Party approached the Supreme Court for relief for Manish Sisodia. In the court, they once did not cite their fundamental rights, which they could have, citing political vendetta. Instead what they claimed that they were happy to cooperate with the agencies in the scam that was being leveled against them. So you might here say that this is political vendetta, but the Aam Aadmi Party you're defending in the apex court actually accepted that there was a case and wanted to cooperate.
But this is exactly the point, Rajiv Pandey. This is a political charge that needs to be fought politically. Did the opposition parties make a mistake fundamentally of making it a legal proposition? Because actually, if you look at a lot of these individual cases, vendetta is not quoted in courts. It is never used as a defense because you know it will not succeed.
Shivani ji, all the opposition party which they tried today, they have failed before Honorable Supreme Court of India. The larger issue is they are not in a position to get relief in their particular case. And what Honorable Supreme Court of India has said so, that we have to examine every case. You know what Manish Sisodia was saying few days back till he was arrested. That nothing has been found in my room, nothing has been found in my club, nothing has found. Now why he is in jail? Now one BRS leader is saying nothing has come. Let the investigation complete. That is my first point. I am not an investigating agency, so I cannot say. BJP, under the BJP government, a full free hand is given to the agencies. Agency investigate and then they file case. They do not do it for political like earlier. You see, Lalu Prasad Yadav, it took almost 20 years to get him convicted.
My question is,
right now, once again, I did not utter one word.
One second, Mr. Reddy, I'll give you more time. I've got a few minutes more. Yes, please let him finish.
I'm only saying, if your leader is not corrupt, nothing will happen to him. But I am telling you, anybody corrupt in this country will not be spared. I think that's why.
Okay. Then what about Mr. Pandey? Mr. Pandey, let me repeat my question to you that I asked Tushar earlier. What about those individuals who you used to call corrupt, but since they have joined your party, are somehow no longer under the radar of the agencies?
Shivani ji, only you take one leader from Assam, another leader from
Bengal,
West Bengal.
No, Maharashtra. There are leaders, such leaders from Maharashtra.
Listen to me. What I'm saying. One leader who came to BJP and now he has gone back to again TMC. I don't want to even take the name. What I'm saying, agencies cannot plant the evidence. Understand? Shivani ji, I am saying that leader has come. Mukul Roy came to BJP and now gone back to TMC.
What's the point you're making?
Agencies. What I'm trying to make. It is not people changes party because of their political understanding.
No, but what about the heat of the agencies on such leaders? The likes of Suvendu Adhikari, Hemanta Biswa Sarma, the likes of Mr. Rane. Mr. Reddy, once again, please, one by one. Please, one by one.
Be investigating the matter. You understand?
No, we've not heard any. No, that's not the point. Obviously, technically, they're under investigation, but we've not seen any case of those investigations.
I don't talk about when Manish Sisodia. Now Manish Sisodia is arrested. That Satinder Jain is arrested.
No, don't go to them. Come to the leaders I'm asking about.
Only one line.
Yes.
One in 4 lakhs rupees, 150 crores bungalow is being bought by Lalu Prasad's son, who is Deputy CM. Do you think that government and agencies will leave him? Not at all. What Mr. Gupta has, political analyst Tushar has said, if you have concrete evidence, he is not saying you go and investigate. No. When there was a Congress government, we went to Honorable Supreme Court of India in 2G and CWG scam. If they have proof against their own leader, like Mukul Roy or any other leader,
one second, Mr. Reddy, 1 second,
That's
please.
my point.
No, okay, but you haven't answered my question. 1 second, Mr. Reddy, I will give you an opportunity. Please don't speak over other guests. Mr. Korean is also waiting. I didn't get an answer, Mr. Pandey, as to how leaders who join you, suddenly there are no raids against them. Suddenly the pace of investigation against them falls. I am not saying that you plant, evidences against them, but you were the ones who were raising, raising a hue and cry about their corruption.
Shivani ji, that's why I gave you the reason of name of Mukul Roy. Now he has gone back to TMC.
Then?
So he didn't come to BJP to get off the hook. He didn't went back to TMC now to get investigation. I am telling you.
Okay.
BJP
Mr. Korean, you wanted to come in. George Korean.
Agencies given free hand to investigate the matter, and every corrupt will be taken to task.
George Korean, very quickly.
Honorable Prime Minister has also said so.
Shivani, let me make it very clear. The opposition party is not trying to defend the cases against the opposition leaders. Their whole intent is that it shouldn't be singled out just to the opposition leaders, because we have been seeing that post 2014 the number of cases has risen only against the opposition leaders. So if the BJP's intention is zero tolerance against corruption, it should be in respect to every political spectrum or every political party, including the Bharatiya Janata Party. So this kind of one-sided
Only one line.
just
Shivani,
trying
a very
to corner
important
or
line I want to
harass
say.
the
Only one
opposition leaders is not correct, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, yes, Mr. Pandey.
Only one line.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, right now there is a government of Jadyu and RJD in Bihar. Their BJP was in power. If they find that BJP leaders have done something wrong, or in Maharashtra they were in power, you know, there is so many states where opposition party is ruling. I am saying you have also anti-corruption bureau.
Okay.
Why you are not taking action against them?
Okay.
If you find, because the reason is BJP, they are unable to find any corrupt people in the BJP.
Okay,
That's
Mr.
why
Reddy,
they are unable to
Mr.
take.
Reddy,
That's
respond
the
to
main
that,
point.
please.
Mr. Tushar is saying, you know, all the corrupt will be held, they will be punished. I would like to ask you only two things. Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao, the Rajya Sabha member and the spokesperson of BJP now, in 2019, he was saying about two MPs, Rajya Sabha MPs of Andhra Pradesh, as they are Andhra Malyas. They both have, you know, defrauded banks to the tune of 6,000 crores. And other MP, Mr. CM Ramesh, evaded the tax to the tune of hundreds of crores.
The individual cases.
They both
We are
were
not
called
aware
as
about that.
Andhra Malyas. Listen, Andhra Malyas. After
Sir,
that, they have joined.
This is not a debate on Andhra Malayas.
Why are you
It's a debate about the
frustrated?
Supreme Court judgment.
I know you
where you
support
all have
criminals.
been put into task.
You support
that you
fraudsters.
are misusing
support
Honorable Supreme Court of
tax
India
evaders.
and time and
And you apply
waste
Nirma
the
sir.
money.
Hold a minute. Let me
What
talk
I'm
about
saying,
it.
sir, is this
I
the
will
debate
talk
of
in
that
between.
two
Mr.
MPs?
Pandey,
Is this the debate
you
on
can't-
two MPs? I am
you
saying
can't stop me
all
talking about
political
it.
opposition parties
Hold a
went to
minute.
Honorable Supreme Court of
Let
India.
me
Rightly,
complete my
Supreme Court of
statement.
India has
Shivani, this is not
rejected. You
I
know, you
waited for
can't
my
go
turn.
and
I know.
try to
I am opening
protect
up.
the corrupt people.
I know.
Don't
He's
try
being
to protect
exposed.
corrupts.
I know he's
Don't try
exposed.
to protect corrupt people in
I
this
am not
country.
Okay, one
They
by
will
one,
be
please.
sent to
dear,
jail.
you
Mr.
are
Pandey,
putting
let
me-
him just finish, please.
I
You
am
can respond
fraudsters.
later. Yes.
Let me complete. Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao told that they are Andhra Malyas. He wrote a letter to Rajya Sabha chairman to disqualify them.
Okay.
After that, Mr. Y.S. Chowdhury, CM Ramesh, joined BJP, applied by Nirma Sarf applied by Sri Amit Shah. They joined. They happily met Honorable Prime Minister. After that, no
Shivani ji.
Okay, okay.
no
What is
ED.
this? What is
no
this,
No, I
ID.
think he's
Shivani ji?
essentially
They all
making the
become,
same
you know,
point. Mr.
please.
Pandey, I have only 10
What is
seconds
this?
left. Can you respond to that? That
Only
is
one-
the political perception the
What
BJP
happened
will
to
have
that?
to fight.
Why?
Shivani ji, I'll tell you.
EBI,
Shivani ji, now it
IT
is 10 seconds
doesn't
for
get
me.
time
10
to
seconds
process
only.
that.
Mr. Reddy, please yield now. Yes, 10 seconds.
I'll tell you. You know, they are talking about that the moment they people join BJP. I'll tell you, now almost 9 years is over of the Modi Sarkar. They
Yes.
could not find one corruption, one scam. That's the reason that
That's
you
a
cannot
separate
find
issue.
people in BJP. You tell me, when there was a 10-year
So you allow
CPA government,
scams
several
and
people
everything.
filed
Mandal
petition in
Virupaksha
Supreme Court of India and
From Karnataka.
several
Sir,
ministers
you want to
and
Prashant
member of
Mandal.
parliament went to jail.
Okay.
Is this correct or wrong?
I have
Shivani,
to
you
leave
tell
it
me.
at that.
What I'm saying, that is correct or wrong?
No,
I
I
just
have to
want
leave
know
it at that. Corruption
mean to say
cases
that
must
you
be
give an
pursued,
exemption
and there
for
is
BJP?
absolutely neither any separate pedestal for politicians, nor can there be any excuses that somebody else is also doing this. Why are you asking me? But there is a political perception that those who join the BJP somehow go scot-free. I have to leave it at that. I do thank our guests. Some of them will be continuing with us for our second debate. That's also featuring the BJP and the BRS. Now, BJP Telangana President Bandi Sanjay was arrested in quite a dramatic fashion in the middle of the night from his residence yesterday. Bandi Sanjay was arrested in connection with the SSC paper leak case, but the FIR filed by the police doesn't say that he was involved in the paper leakage. But he's been arrested as he was allegedly provoking students and BJP workers to stage a protest against the leakage. This has stoked a massive political row in the state. BJP workers did come out onto the streets protesting against the KCR government. They called Bandi Sanjay's arrest blatant misuse of power by the government and alleged political vendetta. Meanwhile, the BRS is blaming the BJP for playing with the future of the youth. Let me take a quick look at what this SSC paper leak case is all about. Now, a class 10 Hindi exam paper was allegedly leaked on Tuesday. Now, leak is a slight misrepresentation here because this question paper came in the hands of those outside the exam halls after the exam had already commenced. But on Monday, a similar thing had happened and a question paper of another subject was also leaked in a similar manner. The question papers were allegedly circulated on social media then. A pressure was building on the government for these, quote, leaks happening. The police has so far arrested 4 people, including the Telangana BJP president, Bandi Sanjay Kumar. Now, this is where the case and the arrest gets interesting. The FIR filed by the police against Bandi Sanjay makes out no real case against him in connection with the leak itself or the alleged leak. The FIR says that Bandi Sanjay blamed the government for paper leakage, that he provoked students to stage protests, that he wanted to create a law and order problem in the state, he wanted to disturb the continuation of examinations, he was demoralizing students from appearing from exams, and thus a preventive arrest of Bandi Sanjay was deemed necessary. So the big debate that's coming in, is this not a case of excessive state action? In fact, political vendetta that the opposition parties have been claiming against the BJP.
जो व्यक्ति इसके खिलाफ संघर्ष कर रहा है, संजय बंडी और भारतीय जनता पार्टी, उसको दबाने की कोशिश की जा रही है। एक षड्यंत्र के तहत अपने घिनौने कारनामों से डाइवर्ट करने की कोशिश केसीआर कर रहे हैं और बेसलेस झूठे पर्चे डाले जा रहे हैं।
Let's go across to our guests. Mr. Ravula Sridhar Reddy of the BRS stays with us. NV Subhash, the Telangana BJP spokesperson, is joining us. Mr. Reddy, we were discussing political vendetta. You look at the contours of this case and the manner in which your opponent party's state president has been nabbed in the middle of the night by the police, dragged out. Does this not smack of excessive state action and clear political vendetta? Because the charges against Mr. Bandi Sanjay are purely political.
Shivani, it is not political at all. He is the main conspirator behind this act of, trying to leak the 10th class papers. He is an A1 now, A1, the accused number 1.
Yes.
And his close aides have done this job. So automatically police, the moment they understood that the entire conspiracy, they have investigated in detail and he has been taken into custody. Now he has been arrested. What do you want? How do you expect the police to behave?
No, so I just want to understand from you.
What
He's
BJP
not
wants.
being accused of a leak because the police itself says that technically no leak has happened. The students were already in their exam halls when these papers came out.
Students were already in the examination. Students were already in the examination, but from the TSPSC leakage issue till yesterday's 10th class Hindi papers issue, Mr. Bandi Sanjay and others were always making baseless allegations and trying to tarnish the government's image. And even in the TSPSC leakage issue, one of the main accused are very close to Bandi Sanjay. His name is Rashekar Reddy. And so yesterday, Mr. Prashant, who was there in the case, he's an ABVP leader. He's a close aide of Bandi Sanjay. He got very close contacts with most of the BJP leaders, including Bandi Sanjay.
Okay.
And all these things has happened after the investigation.
No, once again, are you saying that Mr. Bandi Sanjay is guilty of conspiring to fake some sort of a leak and bring the reputation of the government down? What is the charge against him? He didn't leak the paper.
I'm trying to tell you.
And there is no leak per se.
The investigation, this is not leakage, but these guys have tried to bring it out and show the government in the poor light, and they tried to demoralize the 5 lakh students who are writing examination, tried to spoil their opportunities, and it's a conspiracy.
Okay.
Entirely.
So you are accusing them of a conspiracy?
Shivani, let me complete. There were 142 telephone calls which happened between Mr. Prashant and Sanjay, and there were huge set of WhatsApp chattings were also there. And Mr. Sanjay, being a responsible MP, then he was arrested. He denied to hand over his phone to the police.
Okay.
Okay, it's a very clear-cut case of conspiracy, police is taking the right action.
Okay, let the police take their action. Okay,
if he's
but
a
let
MP,
Mr. N.V. Subhash come in,
is he
please.
exempted from this?
No, of course not. Let
Just
Mr.
because he's an
N.V.
MP,
Subhash come in.
Is he exempted if he does a conspiracy?
No, that's fine. Let me just take that to the BJP representative. He's not spoken. Please respond to the charges that have been made against your state president.
Yeah, Shivani, as you technically said that, the leakage should happen before the examination, not after, during the examination course of action. And one thing is very clear that, whatever, whoever is the culprit, if they are being booked or charged, they should, the police should give an explanation. Bandi Sanjay has been arrested at 11:30 in the night, last night, and after 14 to 15 hours of shifting from one police station to other police station. Now the script has been written from the CM office. KTR and the CM and his son, Mr. KTR, has written the script, and then the police has been given instruction that this case should be booked on the so and so.
What are you talking, Subhash?
So the Bharatiya Janata Party, the Bharatiya Janata Party.
One by one, sir. One by one.
Yeah, the Bharatiya Janata Party
like a political representative, not a LKG child.
One by one, Mr. Reddy, not like this, please.
What are you talking?
This leakages has been happening. This kind of the leakages are being happening right from all the examinations. What you take from past 8 years, whenever the notification has been given by the Telangana government, whether it is TS, PSC or any other institutions, the leakage is purposefully happening, and then they are putting the blame on the Bharatiya Janata Party.
An accused,
he has nothing to do with it. Bharatiya Janata Party president has nothing to do with it. It is a framed charge. In order to avoid,
okay, one by one. Can I just come in? Mr. Reddy, please don't speak over the other guests. You got your uninterrupted time. Please show the same courtesy to our other guests. Please. I shouldn't have to say this again and again. Mr. Subhash, I'll come to the treatment. One second. Mr. Subhash, I'll come to the treatment and the manner in which this arrest took place. The FIR says a preventive arrest was necessary, but there's also an accusation that Mr. Bandi Sanjay was not making himself available. I'll come to that in a bit. But what about the charge itself? That the BJP state leadership was conspiring to present that there was some sort of a leak when there was none. They were hand in gloves with those circulating the exam papers online and spread panic amongst the students. That's the charge against your state leader.
Yeah, exactly. So, the situation is that, the person.
Yes, Mr. Subhash, go ahead.
Yeah. There was the person who has given this just information. He has given to BRS leaders also, the ministers, MLAs, as well as the Congress leaders also. Why these charges are happening only on Mr. Bandi Sanjay and Bharatiya Janata Party? There is a huge inferiority complex in the BRS government because Narendra Modi ji is coming on 8th of April. He is giving so many schemes to the Telangana government. The Telangana government has failed in almost in all subjects, including the schemes which are, not going to the people. Yes. So, in order to avoid some kind of confrontation, to disturb the cadre of Bharatiya Janata Party, so that Modi's government, Modi's visit to Hyderabad, that is an official program. It is the developmental activity. It's not a political program. So, they have huge inferiority complex, as I said earlier.
Okay, well, there is a huge background to the entire bitter battle that is escalating between BJP and BRS. But Mr. Reddy, my question to you is, I don't remember of a case where an opposition party state president was arrested in the manner that Mr. Bandi Sanjay has been arrested. One would say that the link that has been made to him with this alleged leak is strenuous at best. You claim political vendetta when it comes to other opposition party and cases against them. Why should we not look at this as state victimizing the opposition state leadership? I mean, like I said, I don't remember a case where a state president of an opposition party was arrested like this. Look at the optics of what has happened.
Shivani, I too have not, don't remember a case where a national party state president, at least a BJP president, tried to had such a conspiracy and tried to kind of, create that a paper is leaked and tried to tarnish the image of a government.
But sir, those are the charges against him. You've already pronounced him guilty, which I'm sure you will not like because there are cases against your leader. So let's be careful about that.
No. I am very clear about this. Whatever police has, stated, I am saying the same.
Yeah.
As you said, you have never seen a state president has been arrested. I also have not seen any state president doing such a, silly and dirty politics till date. And number two, today, Mr. Subhash is saying that Prime Minister is coming, so we are doing all these activities. Till date, in the past 9 years of our rule, Honorable Prime Minister would have come more than a dozen times to Telangana, and Mr. Amit Shah would have come more than a dozen times. So you have 3 MLAs, 4 MPs, and nothing else. So you could not get.
Yeah, but it's also fair to say that the battle, as I was saying, between BJP and BRS is escalating only now. You've got national ambitions too, and Telangana is looked at as a state where the BJP wants to expand. But leave that aside. Mr. Subhash, I have final 30 seconds. Please, sir, please cooperate.
Yeah.
Mr. Subhash, final 30 seconds. Are you seeing this as an attack on you because you are growing in the state? Is that what you are alleging?
Exactly. 100%. You are just 100% correct on that. I really appreciate bringing in the notice. Bharatiya Janata Party is the only party in Telangana where people are looking forward, because whatever the scams are happening by the BRS government and the leaders, including MLAs and MPs, we are very, very clear that then we are bringing to the notice of the people. Bharatiya Janata Party is growing, so they wanted to cut short, and then they wanted to do some kind of acts which are not in favorable of the people. See, there are so many students whose life is in jeopardy, and they are unable to really study, and then the focus on that. We blame entirely on the BRS government.
I've run out of time. I'm sorry, I've run out of time. I do thank both of our guests for joining us. One thing is very clear, that this political battle between these two parties is definitely getting uglier and bitter by the minute. I have to slip into a very short break. On the other side, remember, there's a row that has broken out after certain chapters have been dropped from NCERT textbooks, entire syllabus, including history books. Coming up, an exclusive conversation with the NCERT Director Dinesh Saklani on those dropped chapters.
From Ratnagiri would in fact be taken on a transit remand to Kerala, where further investigation would continue at Kerala, because the incident is from Kerala. So usually the police coming in from that particular state has to take the help from the local agency or the central agency, for that matter. In this case, Maharashtra ATS had helped nabbed this person along with central intelligence, and from Ratnagiri railway station was where this person named Shausepi was picked up. He was in fact absconding ever since the incident on April 2nd. But when his location was traced, there were inquiries that were made, and it was found that he was in a civil hospital where he was getting a treatment for his injuries. Which is why now what we see is that depending on his situation, he'll be produced in the local court asking for a transit remand, following which he'll be taken to Kerala for further investigation. Currently, he is in the custody of RPF Ratnagiri, and the investigation would continue. In fact, his interrogation is on right now, and very soon we understand that Kerala Police will also be reaching Ratnagiri to take his custody. Yes.
We have security analyst Patikrit Payne joining us. Mr. Payne, good morning. So, major development in the Kerala train fire case. The absconding accused has now been nabbed in Ratnagiri. How do you see this development?
Well, good morning. It will take some time for the investigating agencies to find out the actual motive behind it. But in today's era of social media playing a role in terms of indoctrination, it is not necessary that every potential act of terror would have some kind of a link with a terror organization. Somebody can get indoctrinated on his own and actually trigger a lone wolf attack. What we also witnessed that if in case it has any terror angle or an objective which is subversive in nature and not a personal grudge, what is worrying are the patterns and the dimensions in which how it is changing. Perhaps there are no more use of high intensity explosive material that is being replaced by other kind of inflammable products which might be readily available and for any kind of activity like this. It is a worrisome nature. Probably it is not easy for any security agency to prevent every attack like this. But where the radicalization is taking place, why people are moving towards certain elements are moving towards that kind of direction, it requires a thorough investigation.
Shahrukh Saifi is the one who set his co-passengers on fire in a Kerala train, and now he has been nabbed by the police. He was absconding and now he has been nabbed in Ratnagiri. He was at a civil hospital in Ratnagiri where he was undergoing treatment for his injuries, and now he has been nabbed by the police. Remember, he was the one who had set his co-passengers on fire in a Kerala train, and two of them even died. A woman and a 2-year-old child even died in that incident while jumping off the train. And now the accused has been nabbed in Ratnagiri by the police. CNN News 18's Anvit is joining us to give us more details on this. Anvit, can you tell us more about Shahrukh, who has now been nabbed by the police in Ratnagiri?
See, it is being said that it was in the intervening night of 4th and 5th April that Shahrukh Saifi, who was the prime accused as per the Kerala police, he has been arrested. It was a joint team of Central Intelligence and Maharashtra ATS that have managed to nab Saifi. And he had been absconding ever since the incident took place on Sunday, where he had allegedly sprayed some inflammable liquid on the passengers of the train and then had set them afire. Now, yesterday his location was traced to Ratnagiri, and inquiries at the hospital in Ratnagiri revealed that Shahrukh was at Ratnagiri Civil Hospital for his treatment for the injuries that he had received, because he had, while escaping, he had jumped out of a running train, and that is why he had received some injuries, and he was getting treatment at Ratnagiri at the civil hospital. But when the teams reached there, he managed to, ran away from the hospital without getting complete treatment. However, subsequently, extensive searches were made for him in Ratnagiri area, and finally, Shahrukh was located with the help of technical surveillance and the team joint operations of the police, and he was arrested. Now, currently, it's being said that he is under the custody of the RPF Ratnagiri, and his interrogation is yet to start, after which his antecedents will be confirmed, and it will also be confirmed if he is the same man, because the police had been making many raids in Delhi, Noida, UP and other areas also, as it had been confirmed that this man belongs to UP, and since then raids are being made. Many other people had also been detained, who had similar names or had any possible connection with this incident. So this man has now been taken into custody, and questioning will soon begin, is what we believe.
All right, Anvit, we also have Neetu with us. Neetu, now that the absconding accused Shahrukh Saifi has been nabbed, what next for him?
See, he'll definitely be brought back to Kerala, because the case has been registered in Kerala, and it's not just the Kerala police.
Welcome back. Now, NCERT's rationalized syllabus during COVID, which has come out now as part of new printed books, has raised some eyebrows due to some interesting omissions. These revisions took place last year to reduce pressure on students and were done across subjects. Several chapters, including one on Mughal courts, has been dropped from history book of class 12. From the political science textbook, mentions on Gujarat riots have been excluded. Reference to Nathuram Godse as a Brahmin from Pune has been removed, while information on RSS ban post Mahatma Gandhi's assassination has also been removed. I spoke to the director of the NCERT, Dinesh Saklani, on the changes and why they were made.
First of all, thanks a lot for speaking to CNN News 18. I want to begin by asking you that just yesterday, the NCERT, including yourself, made a clarification that a lot of the chapters that are under news, including a chapter on Mughal courts, for example, they haven't been dropped from history books. But if you look at the revised books that have come out after the rationalization that was done purely for COVID reasons, these books do not have these chapters. So effectively, they have been cut. Can you give us a reasoning as to why, for example, this Mughal courts chapter has been cut out of history books?
Yeah, I have already several times repeated this, that due to COVID, content load has to be reduced. Okay, and if there were 2 chapters and the experts scrutinized the books and content load, in order to reduce the content load, they kept the more extensive and knowledgeable chapter, and they recommended that one chapter, if you deduct it, remove it, there is going to be no difference, because both the chapters are focusing on 16th and 17th century Mughals. Okay. So, more or large, the chapter which is more inclusive, more knowledgeable, that chapter has been kept. So
Okay.
that is the criteria of the experts committee suggested by them.
Okay. No, but the reason I'm asking you this question is also because these were cuts that were supposedly made to lower the burden on students during the COVID period,
Yes.
and because of the the burden on them because of those particular circumstances. So why have you
Yes.
decided to not bring back these chapters? What's the reason now?
Means I have already clarified that now, last year these chapters were deleted, and this time we are starting work on NEP 2020. So this is a small period, for just 6 months or 1 year, we will not reverse the whole exercise again. Na? That is the question. Since you understand that next year onwards, we are going to prepare new books as per NEP 2020. Our NCF for school education is almost finalized. It will be out any day. And based on that, the syllabus and textbooks committees will be constituted. So they will take care of the books from class 3 to 12th. The new books will be prepared. For foundational stage, already books have been prepared and they are going to be given to the press for printing. Very soon the books for class 1 and 2 are coming out, and learning teaching material for foundational stage up to Balbatika, that has already been launched by the Honorable Minister, Education Minister, Government of India. So for this small period, the whole exercise could not be reversed.
Okay.
This is very simple. Yes.
Okay. Can I also come to the other aspect of some of these revisions or changes or cuts that have been made? And one of them is about Mahatma Gandhi, the circumstances of his assassination, and also what was the aftermath of his assassination. So, for example, references to Nathuram Godse, what he did, and the fact that he was a Brahmin from Pune have been changed. The fact that there was a mention that Gandhi's assassination had, quote-unquote, almost a magical effect, and organizations which were, quote-unquote, communal were banned, or communal politics lost its way, those mentions have also been deleted. So could you give me an idea as to why this has been done? Because this is not about chapters being cut. This is about references.
Yes. Then again, the experts thought that if we are going to reduce the content load, then question must be reduced. The minimum question must be asked. If you deduct some part, if you reduce that, remove that, then unnecessary 1 or 2 questions may not be asked to the students for the examination. That might have been the rationale, because this was again the expert committee opinion, not any other else. So reducing content load in all form, not only chapter, but if there are certain items which can invite more questions, then they also were taken into care, and that's why these questions, such parts were also deleted. And it is not only for history and political science book. Across this all books, all classes from 6th to 12th, rationalization process has been done. It has been done for mathematics books. It has been done for chemistry books, for physics books, for sociology books, for commerce books. And why only these 2-3 things are being raked up? Why the basis is very robust, logic is very robust, that students were to be relieved from the content load, and and not only at this level, but at university level also. All the universities, their board of studies recommended for the reduction of the content up to 25% or 30%. All the universities did that exercise. It is not only that NCERT did that exercise. All the universities did that exercise.
Okay, but can I just ask you also, for example, in context of the Gujarat 2002 riots, now after the last few references to Gujarat riots have also been purged from the history books, and in this case the class 12 political science textbook and the sociology textbook, people
logic
will ask,
is the same.
people will ask the question that you look at the RSS reference you look at the Hindu extremism reference, and you look at the Gujarat riots reference, there is a pattern emerging on what is being purged. How would you answer that question?
I am answering you. The standard answer is that this was done under the process of rationalization. Whatever pattern is emerging, that pattern was emerging because of consideration that not to invite maximum questions from the students at that stage. So that was the pattern, and that was the rationale, and it was uniformly adopted. Not only regarding political science. I have quoted so many books from where the chapters or the part of the chapters have been reduced. Then without any logic or any critical analysis, experts not recommend anything. They recommended, they examined, they scrutinized, and they found that if this is not being taught, no harm is going to be caused to these students, or it is not going to minimize their knowledge. So whatever was felt necessary, that was done by the experts committee, and that NCERT implemented that. It is simple.
Okay, but if you're saying that this was done to make sure that questions are not invited by the students, why is that? I'm not quite understanding
From the students. From the students, yes.
What kind of questions are you talking about, sir?
Means any type of, if you add one para, certainly examiner may find questions from there also. So question will be maximum. If content load is minimum, the questions will be minimum. So that was the intention, that the content load must be minimized, and if the content load is minimized, the questions will also be minimized. Under that process, it was done.
Okay. Can you give me an example of any other such revision that has been done that counters the feeling that this is not being done as saffronization of textbooks? That's a term that is used often. So if you're saying that this pattern that is emerging is purely coincidental, could you give me another example?
There are lot of examples. You find in Hindi books. You find in Hindi books. People are saying, why you are not teaching Nirala? No, Nirala is being taught. His one poem is taught. Another poem has been removed. Then there are ancient Indian history. You see, in ancient Indian history, sources of ancient Indian history has been deleted. 1 page, 2 pages have been deleted. Then another chapter, hunting and gathering economy. From there also, few lines have been removed. Lot of things are there. You can just find out in our website. There are details of the such type of details where the not only chapters but the few sentences or paragraphs or box items have been removed. So not only this, but from ancient to modern time, everywhere it has been done, and not only in history, but in all sorts of textbooks. Somewhere the paragraph has been deleted because that paragraph could have invited 2 questions. Sometime to minimize the burden, boxes have been removed because those boxes also contain matter where student could have gone for further study. So this has been done uniformly, and if people are not seeing that, they are finding fault only in one part. That is another problem that we cannot answer for.
There is a reference to emergency 2, which has been deleted from chapter 6, the challenges of cultural diversity, from the class 12 sociology textbooks, Indian society. So I just want to understand, I understood the references you gave about Gandhi's assassination, the RSS being banned, and Gujarat riots. But don't you think emergency is a very important part of modern Indian history? Is this also something that doesn't impact the knowledge of a young student?
No, it is not question of my thinking or your thinking. I have just pointed out a standard procedure that was adopted, and that was the critical analysis of the experts, on the basis of which whatever they recommended, that has been deleted. Why
but
should
what
we
is
think
your
and
opinion,
why should others
sir?
think?
I'm trying to understand from you. You are the chief.
My opinion.
What's your opinion about the fact that emergency is not being talked about in our history books?
I am not going to give you any personal opinion. Since I am a professional person, I am a responsible person, and responsibly NCERT acts responsibly. Whatever opinion was given by the experts, that has to be adhered, and that has to be welcomed, and that has been accepted, and that is being expected. And this debate is unnecessary as of now, because last year NCERT for 3 months gave each and every explanations, not only to print media but electronic media also. And for 3 months everything was explained very crystal clear, and it was accepted by the country, by the people, and it was a welcome step. Students went there to their classes, they studied that material, they have taken their examination. So this controversy is, irrelevant. I think it is ye gair wajib hai. This is not required at all.
You mentioned how a new curriculum is anyways going to come, and we're all looking forward to that. The Education Minister had also touched upon it quite recently.
Yes.
Now, largely the criticism of India's history books is that it was quite one-sided. For example, if you talk about the Mughal history, it only showed the good, seldom showed the very bad aspects, and it almost whitewashed the Mughal period. Similarly, for example, if I take the example of Mahatma Gandhi's history and assassination, the references to the fact that him batting for Hindu-Muslim unity angered certain quote-unquote Hindu extremists has been removed. But why not show what Gandhi said on the matter of Hindu-Muslim unity versus what were the prevailing realities? Wouldn't that be a better way to show history than to either purge something or to have something completely one-sided?
Okay, now you think that since we are going to implement the NEP and all books will be prepared afresh, okay, so let the time come, you will find your answer.
Are you confident, or can you, for the viewers, give any confidence that the criticism of India's history books, that they are not reflecting India's true history, whether it's the Mughal period or the independent Indian history? Sir, could you just give our viewers some thoughts, some context and some idea of whether the history books are going to be revised in a manner that is going to bring some conclusion to these debates?
Just listen. If we know about NEP, it speaks of rootedness in India, cultural rootedness, experiential learning, and address the local issues also. So keeping in these points in view, not only history, but all subjects will be taken care, and again the experts will be invited. Expert committees, syllabus and textbook committees will be there, and experts will certainly take note of the NCF, NEP 2020, and on that basis, whatever recommendations are there, the learning teaching material will be prepared. That much I can say.
Sir, are you saying that the new history books are going to be completely different and a refreshing change from what has been taught to students so far?
Means I have very clearly pointed out that whatever NEP recommends, on that basis NCF will be there, and on the basis of NCF, our textbooks and syllabus committee will take note of this, and they will prepare those books. Certainly they will address these issues which NEP is speaking and directing to us. It is our duty to adhere to the recommendations of the NEP and execute the policy. For that, whatever will be considered fit, that will be done.
ये लोग आपका ध्यान भटकाते रहेंगे, लेकिन आपको अपने काम पर फोकस रखना है। कोई भी भ्रष्टाचारी बचना नहीं चाहिए।
They have categorically allowed the withdrawal of this petition, not passing any adverse order. I repeat, not passing any adverse order. If we get new causes of action on new persons or new reasons, it can be filed again. So clearly they have not entertained it at this stage.
सभी भ्रष्टाचारी एक मंच पर आने का प्रयास करते हैं, लेकिन ये जनता में भी इनका चेहरा बेनकाब हुआ है और कोर्ट में भी असलियत जानने का मौका मिला।
everyone. You're watching News Epicenter with me, Maria Shakil. In a massive blow to at least 14 opposition parties, the Supreme Court today refused to entertain a plea alleging centre's arbitrary use of probe agencies and seeking guidelines for the future. A three-judge bench headed by Chief Justice Chandrachud with Justices P.S. Narasimha and J.B. Pardiwala said that political leaders cannot be put on a high pedestal and cannot be given any immunity. The Supreme Court also asserted that laying down guidelines without facts of a criminal case will be dangerous and that political leaders cannot claim a higher immunity than ordinary citizens. During the hearing, senior advocate Abhishek Manu Singhvi, who appeared on behalf of these political parties, argued that there is a 600% increase in CBI and ED cases, out of which 95% are against the opposition. And he went ahead to demand that if the statistics show a harassing effect, then the opposition is only seeking guidelines. To which the bench, headed by the CJI, asked Mr. Singhvi to come before the court in individual cases. And if at all there is a chilling effect on the opposition, then the answer lies in the political space and not in the courts. Sensing the court's disinclination, senior advocate Mr. Singhvi sought permission to withdraw the petition, which was granted, with no further solid action plan, clearly, which the opposition has now. So the question that we wish to ask on this debate: has probity trumped politics? Before moving ahead, here's what Mr. Singhvi, Abhishek Manu Singhvi, had said about all opposition parties coming together for a larger judicial coalition and raising their voice in what he said was case of harassment by central agencies. This he had said during the Congress meet in Raipur. Let's listen in.
कि हमको घोषणा करनी चाहिए, बाद के राजनीतिक गठबंधन बाद में बनेंगे, लेकिन कम से कम ये संवैधानिक और कानूनी गठबंधन अभी बन जाना चाहिए कि सामूहिक रूप से इस देश की जो भी प्रमुख 15 पार्टियां हैं वो एक साथ मिलकर उच्चतम न्यायालय में याचिका करेंगी कि अगर आप बराबरी का उपयोग या जो बराबरी का व्यवहार नहीं करते हैं इस एजेंसीज के विषय में, तो वो हमारे संवैधानिक मूल ढांचे का उल्लंघन है, बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर का उल्लंघन है। लेकिन ये कांग्रेस नहीं, सभी पार्टी को कांग्रेस के नेतृत्व में एक साथ मिलकर याचिका करनी चाहिए।
In my guests, Shahzad Poonawalla representing the BJP, we have Krishank Mane from the BRS, Professor Manojit Mandal from TMC, Kapil Sankla, senior lawyer, Shantanu Sen, former joint director of CBI. I'm going to begin with you, Mr. Sen, and then I bring in the politicians. Was the idea of a judicial or constitutional coalition of political parties flawed from the word go?
Yes, it was. It was flawed. You go to the Supreme Court in a single case where you show that the Constitution has been hampered or Constitution has not been followed. Now, in this case, we are quite clear that any act of corruption in the higher bodies or those who have held high positions, may have been ministers, they may have been MPs, the law clearly says that their information of corruption against them will be verified by senior police officers. In the case of ministers and cabinet ministers and MPs, MLAs, Supreme Court judges, the circular issued on 3rd September 2021 clearly says they will be verified by the DGP or an equivalent officer, and only then the approval will be given by the union government or the appointing authority. It is very unfortunate that they did not take a single case and go up and show a violation of this circular. It is also true that the CBI has been blunted because in the past, CBI has a right to investigate any act of corruption on its own, verify it, see the allegations, and go ahead with the investigation. But that right has been taken away from the CBI. The the banner started way back in 1980s when the then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi issued a single directive saying any officer of the rank of Joint Secretary and above, and this includes ministers, cabinet ministers, Supreme Court judges, High Court judges, cannot be investigated without a clearance from the Union government. This was quashed by the Supreme Court because it was restricted to the Joint Secretaries. Then Atal Bihari Vajpayee also passed the CVC Act, bringing this law into focus. That too was quashed. But in 26 July 2018, this government laid down that no public servant, whether he is a peon or whether he is a cabinet minister, can be inquired into till that allegation against the public servant is verified. And different ranks were supposed to verify.
So,
and then only. But listen, just 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
This SOP has come only after 3 years of the passing of the law. That allegation should have been made.
Fine enough. So, Kapil Sankla, do you think this petition could have perhaps worked if the opposition parties were indeed seeing some kind of misuse of agencies or quote-unquote selective use of agencies against opposition leaders had it been about individual cases? Because if you look at the observation or the discussion that happened in the court between Mr. Singhvi and the Honorable CJI, he says, can there be immunity? Ultimately, a political leader is basically a citizen. As citizens, we are all amenable to the same law. And then he goes on to talk about how, conviction also, that argument which has been made in the past by multiple opposition leaders, that there has been the conviction rate of agency is very down, to which Justice Chandrachud says, Mr. Singhvi, in India, conviction rate is generally dismal. So this petition would have worked had it been about individual understanding of misuse rather than this collective understanding of misuse.
Well, very beautifully put. And let me tell you like this, that the sum and substance of the argument was statistics based. And therefore, the Honorable Justice very rightly said this. And let me quote him because I don't think it could have been, more beautifully put. He said that the problem with the petition is that you're trying to extrapolate statistics into guidelines where the statistics only apply to politicians. And we cannot have guidelines exclusively for politicians. And that is the crux of the matter. What was being sought is some kind of extra protection to politicians disconnected from what the law is, and the law is same for everyone, be as mighty or as poor you are. And the Honorable Supreme Court, the Chief Justice also rightly said that the political leaders stand absolutely on the same standing as the citizens of the country. They do not claim higher identity. How can there be a different set of procedures for them? So when the argument was based on the fact that statistics show that politicians are being, there's a witch hunt against these politicians, etc. The genesis of the argument was exclusionist. And this is what pointed out rightly by the Honorable Supreme Court at the word go, that you cannot have different yardsticks. As I've always said, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. What is good for the poor is also good for the rich. You cannot knock the doors of Supreme Court at every pretense. You cannot challenge the MM's order straight to the Honorable Supreme Court to say, listen, I have some special right because I am a national politician or whatever it is.
Yes.
So therefore, that equality that was reiterated by the Honorable Supreme Court is very, very important.
Yes.
Individual cases where factually it is shown that there is some misuse of law, the Honorable Supreme Court, of course, and the High Court,
yes,
of course.
Because the Chief Justice, Kapil Sankla, has said, and I'm quoting him, that, we are not entertaining this. If you want, you can come back in individual cases where someone has been targeted. So this is about perception of being targeted. Krishank Mane, you were among those who approached the court. What next for the opposition leaders?
Well, one thing, Maria ji, rule of law applies to all. Applies to all, matlab all opposition parties, as well as it should also apply to the Bharatiya Janata Party. But when the debate of corruption or corruption charges come, the way opposition parties are witch hunted and Bharatiya Janata Party's elected representatives or their 40% commission ministers or MLAs are exempted, and we don't see one single arrest, probably the BJP spokesperson may come up
Mr.
with some
Mane,
karyakarta's
Mr.
name
Mane,
that see,
Mr. Mane.
they, so and so time they've
Mr.
been
Mane,
arrested.
at
Our
least
question
today,
across the nation,
for all the
numerous
petitions
names,
that have
from
been filed,
Assam's chief
if
minister
there is a
to
sense,
numerous.
Mr. Mane, please, one moment. Today, at least, there should be an acceptance that this was that this effort was flawed from the word go. If the BRS feels that the investigation that is going on against K. Kavita in the liquor scam is some kind of targeting, then they should approach separately, individually, rather than seek joint immunity of the entire opposition.
Well, Maria ji, coming straight to the point, couple of hours ago, Bharatiya Janata Party in its official handle has made a very, I mean, the below the belt politics, a cartoon of Kavita ji and Telangana Chief Minister with their charges of corruption. And Bharatiya Janata Party, they are already Bharat Justice Party. They give court judgment that we are tainted with corruption. Let the court do its job.
Exactly.
But
the court has done its job. Now what I'm saying, will the opposition... No, sir. Sir, because you're not answering my question. You're not answering my question.
I'm coming to it. Maria ji, I'm coming to it. But while I say this, the issue is not only about BJP's target on Telangana or Kavita ji alone. The same Modi's operandi is happening in numerous states. The same thing happened with Sanjay Raut.
No, but
the
then
same thing happens
but the court,
with
you've not been able to convince the court. Tell me now, Professor Manijit Mandal, what does it do to all this opposition unity which had come on these cases?
Two aspects to it. One is legal, the other is political. The political fight will continue. And on the legal frontier, I entirely agree with the Chief Justice of Honorable Chief Justice of India when he said that the politician should not have any special immunity. I think the same should apply to Mr. Shubhendu Adhikari as well. But he has been given this kind of immunity by the High Court of Calcutta, by the Justice Rajashekhar Mantha, that no FIR can be registered against Mr. Shubhendu Adhikari. This is a judgment.
Then
and
what
I
is stopping the TMC? What is stopping the TMC in challenging that order in the higher court?
The TMC definitely has challenged the order in the higher court. I do not know what has happened to that particular case, but I appeal to the Honorable Chief Justice to look into these matters as well.
Okay.
That even in anticipation, a judgment of this nature can be delivered by a subordinate court. That no FIR, even if you kill someone, that no FIR can be filed without the permission of the court. So he has given this kind of immunity in this country, and there lies the question of fight against the corruption and the BJP. This person is again a particular classic case. The moment he switched sides to BJP, and there is a case against him under the direction of the Supreme Court. Please don't tell me that I should go to Supreme Court to file the FIR against Mr. Shubhendu Adhikari, because the FIR is filed under the direction of the Supreme
it looks
Court.
like
But no investigation is happening
as far as
against Shubhendu
opposition
Adhikari
is
because he is now in
concerned,
BJP.
this is a rallying point, and despite this obvious setback from the Supreme Court, they will be, saying that it's all right and that there has been no misuse of agencies.
Since you use the word politically loaded word rallying point, I would just wonder if you do another debate after this on how much rallying TRS wants to do for Congress and how many seats it wants to give it in Telangana, or how many seats TMC wants to give to Congress in Bengal, you'll understand how much of a rallying point it is and how much of a crying point it is. And let me tell you, this is not a constitutional coalition. It is a coalition of losers and a coalition of corrupt and commission courts. Please, first of all, Maria, all of these cases are tested at the annual of the court. In the last 9 years, all of these people with supreme legal battery of lawyers haven't got one case, one court order, one court observation saying that the agencies are being misused like a caged parrot like it was done in 2013. Not one instance. Secondly, all of these cases, let's see the TMC case, for instance. The SSC case started when 8 CBI probes were ordered by the High Court. The Lalu Prasad case started when Congress was in power, when BJP was not in power. It was actually the opposition parties, and he got convicted for the first time in 2013. By the way, he's been convicted 4 times. Is he convicted? Is it vendetta politics or is it corruption by him? Thirdly, Sonia Gandhi's case started when in 2012 a trial court started proceedings against her, and the Supreme Court also refused to give her any relief. So what has the agencies got to do? Anything? Nonetheless, these people went and tried their luck in front of the court, and the court has told them 2-3 things. One, that you can't have immunity just because you abuse the BJP from acts of corruption. Two, you can't say that you're a special privileged class, because earlier, Maria, ED used to mean entitlement of diners to loot, and CBI used to mean cage bird of India. Use it as per convenience for political objectives. You can't have a special class, even though Pramod Tiwari may advocate a special law for the Gandhis. And thirdly, what is very clear is that why are you fighting your political battles in a court of law? If you genuinely think it's vendetta, prove it in a court of law in an individual case, or go to the people.
Let's
The
look
people have
at some
rejected, the courts
cases.
have rejected.
Okay, one moment. Now that none of these leaders have got any relief from the courts, then why blame on agencies? That means the courts find prima facie evidence that the investigation must continue. Manojit Mandal, that is one moment.
Absolutely
in
wrong.
the case of Aam Aadmi Party, what is happening there?
Absolutely wrong in case of Sharda. You do not have the data in front of you.
I'm talking about Aam Aadmi Party.
Doesn't matter. Everyone is targeted in the opposition. Everyone. But
why hasn't Satyendra Jain got bail?
TMC is
why isn't Manish Sisodia getting bail?
I'll tell you.
Why is there no quashing of the FIR and the cases against them?
What is your problem? You are giving uninterrupted time to your friend Sajid Poonawalla.
No, that's not fair. There is no interruption or uninterrupted time. Go ahead.
So I'm giving you the data. Look at the case, Sharda case. 2,500 crores ghotala, people used to say. It's been continuing since 2013. CBI has taken over in 2014. Madan Mitra, one of the ministers, a very close aide of Mr. Mamata Banerjee, was arrested, was in jail for 9 months. No conviction till date. 10 years have passed. What does it suggest? Courts are doing their job. Investigation agencies are doing their job. No, it is just a political tool to oppress and to scare. Had there been any case against Mr. Madan Mitra by now, 10 years, there should have been some conviction, at least some definite charges. By the court, not by the police, not by the CBI. There are no charges framed by the court till now. What are you talking about? Narda case, 6 years, 2017, directed by CBI, directed by Supreme Court for CBI investigation. No charges framed by the court of law. 3 persons were taken over, and they were in jail in the VR of 2020.
Since you have asked specific question about Narda and Sharda, Shehzad Poonawalla respond to this.
Misuse of agents.
Okay, just specifically on Narda and Sharda, please, and then we move on. Yes.
Maria, also it must be factored in that the panel is loaded 1 versus 3, and then there is a legal expert from the Supreme Court. So let's also factor that in. Also, let me come to the point that let's take one case for example. Lalu Prasad has been convicted 4 times. The Trinamool Congress spokesperson Mandalji, is Lalu corrupt? Yes or no?
So what kind of
is Lalu Prasad Yadav corrupt? Yes or no?
Is Hemanta Biswa Sharma corrupt or not?
No, he is not corrupt.
or not?
No, he is not corrupt. No, he is not corrupt. No, he is not corrupt.
Chotalas.
No, is Lalu Prasad Yadav corrupt? Yes or no?
Chotalas are convicted.
Now you understand, Maria, may I complete?
Chotalas are corrupted not. Chotalas
may I complete?
Father and son.
Okay, Shehzad, please. Shehzad, please.
What are you
Maria,
talking
may I
about?
complete?
Yes.
Maria, may I complete?
Go ahead.
Maria, may I complete?
Yes.
Your PCR can do the needful.
Yes,
may
please,
I complete?
go
I don't
ahead.
interrupt anybody. I don't interrupt anybody. Look, Maria, forget about courts framing charges, not framing charges. When a man has been convicted by a court, these people are so beholden to Lalu Prasad Yadav, they can't even say Lalu is corrupt. So how do you expect them to say even a shred of truth? You know, one of the TMC leaders, Kirti Azad, said that India is going to be poorer than Bangladesh. He had to be fact-checked. So don't believe their facts on just ad hominem basis. I think there's a longer debate, then we can discuss about all these cases in detail. But I'll ask you another question. ED has taken action on Satyendra Jain and Manish Sisodia. Congress party has said it's welcome. If it was vendetta, why did Congress party, the newfound friend of TMC, say it's a welcome move? मतलब अपने पे हो तो अत्याचार, दूसरे पे हो तो चमत्कार. Good corruption in the case of Satyendra Jain, bad corruption if you catch Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. ये क्या चल रहा है? This kind of double standards can't be done. Secondly,
can I respond to him? Just 10
Yeah,
seconds.
no, Krishank Mane will speak. Mr. Mane will speak. Yes.
Is Lalu corrupt?
There are numerous BJP ministers from Gujarat to Karnataka who have been convicted. Have you removed them? Were they immediately disqualified also? Ministers, MLAs. This preaching of Bharatiya Janata Party it's nice to point out only at opposition leaders, but apna gireban jhaklo.
Is Lalu corrupt? Yes or no?
And please name one name. Please name
Is Lalu corrupt? Yes or no?
Please name one name of BJP leader who was jailed, who is in jail. But you cannot name even one name. You will
I can name 10 names. Give me an opportunity. I'll name 10 names.
What we are saying is,
Maria.
we have the gut. Maria ji, I'll tell you
I'll
one
name.
thing. We have
Give
the
me
gut.
an opportunity.
We
I'll
have
name.
the gut to
But why
face
must
your
I name
harassment.
BJP leaders who are not convicted? You tell me, is
We have
Lalu
the
Prasad
gut.
Yadav
Shehzad,
convicted? Is he
Shehzad,
corrupt? Yes or no?
Shehzad.
Krishank Mane.
Shehzad, if you're- I'm not the
Krishank Mane, is
spokesperson
Lalu
of
Prasad
Lalu Prasad
convicted?
Yadav
Is he
party.
corrupt? Yes or no?
I'm not
Is he
spokesperson
corrupt?
of
Yes
the
or no?
RJD. But I'm asking you a question of BJP.
You don't need to be from the
Tell
RJD.
me,
He's convicted by
how
court.
much ever
Is he not convicted by court 4 times?
You want an answer? You want an answer? You should have some
Is he
audacity
convicted?
to
Yes or
listen.
no?
See,
It's
my
a yes or no
straight-
question.
my
Is he
straight-
corrupt or no? Is he
Are
corrupt
you
or
the
no?
court to ask me yes or no? Are you Bharatiya Justice Party?
has been convicted by court. Is
Okay,
he
you're not
corrupt?
getting. You know, no. The problem is that this argument is going in the direction that I do not want it to go. I want to bring in the experts now. No. I'll bring in the experts now.
I just need an answer.
Okay.
Where is an
Krishank
expert?
Mane.
You don't have an expert. You have a BJP spokesperson
No.
who thinks he's running a court. He was running a trial.
Okay,
Is he
Krishank
an
Mane,
expert?
quickly
Is he a
respond.
court?
Quickly respond.
My-
Don't.
my-
Yes.
Krishank Mane, if
My
I needed your
only point
certificates,
is-
if I
my
needed your
only point-
certificates, I
No,
would
no.
I don't need your
You are
certificate,
a
brother.
party of fake
I don't need your
certificates.
certificate.
You are a party of fake certificates from your supreme leader to your MPs.
Okay.
Why don't
Kapil
you-
Sangla
why don't
and
you
Shantanu
stop-
Sen
why
now.
don't you
I'm
stop
sorry,
the leakage
Shehzad.
of papers
Okay.
in Telangana?
Okay.
Terrible.
Kapil Sangla and Shantanu Sen now. Kapil Sangla,
Yes.
obviously in this, political, tutu meme, we did expect it to not have a sensible argument right now. But my larger question is that what happens to this entire argument that has been built by opposition about misuse of agencies? And statistically speaking, that there has been a surge in CBI and ED against opposition. That is what Mr. Singhvi said.
Well, as far as their argument is concerned, there's a short answer. The statistics are created by statisticians to prove their own point. So, I mean, as far as statistics are concerned, they go nowhere. The question here is this. Has there been an individual case where there has been a specific instance of misuse of law? If that is not the case, then everything else is hogwash. And how do you know that there is no specific instance? Because during the arguments on charge, if the court says that no charges are made out, then is the case where you say that, there was a misuse, the FIR was a lot of hogwash, there was a lot of smoke and no fire. But if the court says that there is some merit in it and says that the trial will go on and the accused cannot get a quashing from the High Court, then there is some merit in the investigation. And that is the test. And that is the check and the balance in our democracy. And you cannot and you should not challenge that.
Okay.
Somebody here is questioning the orders of the High Court of Calcutta without going to the Honorable Supreme Court, making it into a political argument, trying to belittle the judicial process.
Okay.
The Honorable Chief Justice also said this very shortly, that if you say that the space for opposition has shrunk, that is the remedy is in the political space, not in the court.
Yes. So
and what is in the court, they do not want to
I think that's an important point that you have made, from that quote that was given. When you say that space for opposition has shrunk, the remedy is in that space, the political space, not the court. That brings me to the final word to former CBI officer Shantanu Sen. Shantanu Sen, CBI as an agency has been called